Motilal Oswal is running a very interesting concept or a contest, so to speak, on Think Equity, Think QGLP, and they've run this through a lot of business schools, and they've identified some 13, candidates who will probably fight it out for the top 3 slots on October 2nd. So joining me now is Raamdeo Agrawal and Siddharth, who've actually worked very hard on this. Raamdeo Siddharth, thank you very much for joining us. I'll come to you on this whole contest and the reason why you've done this. But because you've joined now and markets are so volatile, a word on the markets, Raamdeo, first signs of a correction in the bull market, and will there be an opportunity to buy?
Yeah, so I mean, we were waiting for correction for a very long time.
Very long, right.
And finally it came, and I think it came because of the the valuation was very rich, the supply side. See, whenever you have a very great demand and valuations are high, supply had to build.
Right.
Supply was still shying away. Foreigners were still, kind of not selling that much. New issue market was not that strong, I mean, that big. Now serious amount of new issuances are happening. Foreigners have taken some money out of the table. Even promoters are willing to sell. Government is willing to sell. So I think all sorts of supply line is building up. And it's a very healthy thing, because the stock market is not only about secondary market, in the sense that for the existing investors to find discover the prices. It is also a place where corporates, the real economy, should get the money from. Okay. So now the dam is full and the water is going through the canals to the real fields.
You spoke about, the economy has to also participate, and that's where some bit of concern has emerged of late. The GDP numbers are not showing up. People are worried about GST implementation. In that context, are you seeing that even earnings will be a bit of a challenge for the rest of the year?
I mean, it has been it has been slow for last 3-4 years. We have been very selective. See, I mean, yesterday also I was in IMA and we were talking about it. One of the things is that somebody said, I mean, there are two sets of India, compliant India and non-compliant India. Okay. So investing always happened in the compliance part of India. The non-compliant are in deep mess and whatever, little stress. So that it will take some time, maybe 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. So I think those guys, they have a little problem. Of course, that's a wider and large portion of the economy. And that, the pain is being felt. But in an organized side, I think things are almost as good as what it was before GST. Okay. And hence our portfolio, we are not making any changes. Right. In fact, we are looking for opportunities where, we can get some mispriced bets in this kind of a downfall. Okay. So flows are very good. Okay. Sales are very good domestic markets, and rest all. And also, there's all these 3 players. I mean, the issuers, the foreigners, and DIIs. I mean, these are, kind of a push and pull of all the 3. And I think my sense is that market is going to stay here and decide where, and, markets may stay here, but the stocks will go up and the stocks will fall also. Okay. But that will happen on their own merits of the earnings performance. If the performance is bad, it will go much more down, and earnings performance are good, nobody can stop that stock. Okay.
Siddharth, I know you've spent a lot of time, identifying and shortlisting the 13 eventual, the candidates who will probably participate on October 2nd. Before I ask you on that, your thoughts on the markets, given that you're so much overexposed to the financial space, and that's where people are having some sort of doubts. Your view on financials as a space?
So I think financials continues to look attractive. For us, these are all bottom-up ideas. So while you may look at financials as being, say, 40%, 45% of our fund, roughly around, say, 15-18% would be in insurance companies, which is completely new plays. Even within the remaining, we have some private banks, we have some HFCs and so on, which continue to look very attractive to us. Okay. And so that segment we continue to be bullish on, and the pain points in that segment are, some of those things we never had in our portfolio. So that doesn't impact us much.
Okay. Now coming to this whole, Think Equity, Think QGLP contest that you've run across business schools. I believe there were some 54 entries and you had to shortlist 13. If you can just take us through the process and the whole rationale behind running such a contest across business schools.
Yeah, so first on the rational side, myself, I've also been in a B school, and so earlier when I was at ISP, and then I got an opportunity to do a international exchange at NYU. One thing which was very stark is when you go to international schools and all, the kind of exposure you get to, people who are really doing the thing, or the practical exposure that is, fund managers or key investors coming in, talking to students and all. I think that kind of an opportunity to an extent was lacking in India. I think one of the reasons is obviously, to promote investing, promote long-term investing in India. The other was also to give exposure to students. So, this could be a platform where, anyone in India who's, keen on this industry. Earlier, it's a very difficult industry to, kind of reach out to, because these are not businesses which go to campuses every day. So, this would give them that platform to, kind of shine and come out and, reach out to the respective audience.
Okay. Raamdeo, I was looking at the 13 shortlisted universities and the stock ideas that they've suggested. It looks like a pretty solid names, and the fact that these 13 have been identified under your guidance, the fact that, there has been a lot of, number crunching has already been done in these companies. Interesting list of names, right? There are few stocks which are part of a core portfolio, the likes of Page Industries and Maruti. Well, there are also some unique names. If you can just share your little bit of experience on the 13 names that came across.
Yeah, so from 54 to 25, these two guys they did, Srinath and Siddharth.
Okay.
Then I said, let me just step in and put my weight into that for the last 10.
Okay.
And then I went through the entire, all 25 pitches.
Right.
And I mean, they have done a wonderful job. So, the first thing was that applicability. I mean, we said 4 criteria that we had put in the contest itself. The applicability of QGLP itself, have people understood?
Yes.
Because this is one philosophy which is very simple, very commonsensical, but at least there is a philosophy.
Correct.
I'm not saying this is the best philosophy or this is the only philosophy, but there is a philosophy. So let the students, at this juncture, understand what one philosophy means, and how do you select stocks. Once you understand the concept, then applicability of the concept, and then you look at the financial modeling, and then look at the presentation. So it's not about only the stock being a great idea and all. Though we had put that 25% possibility of making money for the next 3 years, and more than 1,000 crores kind of market cap. So we wanted a name which is kind of known to the public, and there is some thinking future, because investing is about visioning.
Right.
So I mean, sow that seed of thinking ahead, 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, some of the kids, they have done wonderful job of even making it 8, 10 years kind of projection.
Okay.
So that was the whole idea, that sow the seeds in the minds of the people, on the kids basically, that how to think about investing, under the QGLP framework, because that is the only framework we know.
Right.
And hence I went through. In fact, I was quite excited when going through all this. It was a teaching for me also.
So will this be a part of your shopping list going forward, given that you've identified this 13 companies?
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I mean, on second, we are going to hear the pitches from them.
Okay.
I mean, we saw the presentation from them. Some of them are very, very exciting.
But Raamdeo, I was just looking at the whole list while you spoke about Page and Maruti being also part of your portfolio.
Known ones,
some interesting, unique names like Nesco. That's part of that. Wonderla Holidays is part of it. Stellite Technology is part of it.
Yeah.
You got a little surprised that these kind of names have got filtered.
No, we were expecting these kind of names only.
Okay.
Because 1,000 crores. I mean, we were expecting anywhere between 1,000 to 10,000 crores as the pitch at the same. But what happens is all these students, a lot of them have worked in real companies for 2, 3, 4 years, and so their knowledge is very good. Some of them are stock market buffs, like me at their age.
Right.
So I mean, those guys, they would have read balance sheets.
Okay.
So I mean, their working knowledge of the company, knowledge of the business, and some of them were the analysts also, junior analysts. Okay. So they had, I mean, they knew how to make the models and how do you pitch their stories and all. So you are getting from some of the known guys. So they're professionals, and we're expecting some interesting names. Okay. I mean, we couldn't have known all the names, so I was surprised with some of the names, and some of the names I was knowing. But when you actually go into the applicability of QGLP, then you realize these companies are not that unknown, or they're not as bad a company or as low a company as I used to think. When you go to the...
It's kind of an eye-opener for you as well.
Yeah, clearly.
Okay. Yeah. Siddharth, I was just looking at this list, and surprisingly, there are no large cap banks in this list, but there are some NBFCs as well. Nor there are large OMCs, which probably is part of your core portfolios. Are you surprised with that? There are no large banks which got shortlisted in this list?
We saw some pitches.
Yeah, there were a couple of pitches. I think one was on Kotak, and I think that's the one I can remember, which was on large bank.
Okay.
But rest of the ones I don't remember there were any major banks in the pitches.
Okay.
So yeah, a bit surprising because some of them, stand
Though
out
we had
as-
given examples of all the large caps.
Right, exactly.
As a
Correct.
preview, we had given examples to them. They're all large caps. But at the students level, to think about this large caps,
Correct. It's a little difficult.
I mean, the Maruti is there. Maruti is there.
There are large. There are Maruti,
so,
there is Page.
Yeah.
So there are some
so
large
it's a good
caps for
spring.
sure.
I was expecting this kind of mix.
Acha, okay. Siddharth, because you've worked so hard into this whole, crystallizing and shortlisting as well, your key experiences and what probably stands out in this 13 list according to you?
Yeah, one was what Raamdeo was mentioning. Some of these names, when you look at it up front, it looked like very out of place.
Correct.
But I think when you go deep down and look at the presentations that they've sent and all, there's always something or the other which catches your eye. There's some detail which you may have missed earlier. So to that extent, it was very educative, and it was there was some aspect to the other in most of these presentations, which I think was very unique and very original. So that way it was a very interesting journey. I mean, it's very interesting going through all these pitches, and very informative as well.
Yeah. One of the criteria we had, apart from applicability of QGLP, the second was the power of idea.
Okay.
So basically power of idea was to do with the existing competitive advantage and how long this competitive advantage could have, the uniqueness of the company would have continued.
Correct.
And that's where, I mean, these are students of management.
Sure.
They understand the competitive advantage and how to make a pitch for that. So I think some of them were quite interesting. I mean, I was not aware of quite a few of them.
I know you're going to shortlist the top 3 on October 2nd in Ahmedabad. There is a cash reward as well for the top 3.
That's okay. It's very
but
small.
that's fine. What I want to ask you is, will you be giving opportunity to any of those winners to work under you and get the practical experience of how to identify good stocks and sit on it? So basically, your mantra of buy right and sit tight. Will that be an opportunity for any of the kids?
Yeah, clearly. See, I mean, first thing is they're excited about this whole thing. See, I want to see when we go to the campus and when we meet the students, how much. I mean, was it isolated to 2-3 guys in a campus, or was it a little more broad-based? I mean, was it well contested? Because within the campus, I mean, who's going to pitch? So there must have been 5-6 teams who would have pitched within a campus, within one institute also. Okay. And then one team would have been selected to, because one institute, one idea. Okay. It is not an open challenge that anybody can apply. So, Ahmedabad would send only one proposal. But to get that one proposal, how intense was the competition? So it's the year 1. So obviously competition would have been limited, and somehow they would have sent in the last day, because we got all the application on the last day. So last hour. So I don't know how intense was the competition, but the idea is that if it goes off very well this year, maybe we'll make some changes next year. Okay. We want to make it even bigger. See, we want to see that more kids discuss about the investing career. Okay. Because see, now equity itself is now about 7-8 lakh crores, and with the kind of numbers which are flying, I think it will be 40-50 lakh crores AUM in next 8-10 years. I mean, who's going to manage? We need the bright kids. But if they, so we have, and the thinking has to start now. And we are not seeing, because the markets were depressed, the AUMs were depressed for so many years, and it was not sizable. So you're not getting the top talents here. In Wall Street, you get the top talents. Here, the top schools don't send their best talents here. They all go to Amazon, they go to some technology company and all, but nobody comes to the Dal Street. So I think it is a small effort to bring their attention to it. In any case, it is exciting. It is academic, and I hope in that direction we make some progress.
Raamdeo, to take a point forward on the huge domestic liquidity which is there right now, you think this is a new norm now, that you're going to see $10-15 billion of domestic money coming into the market every year?
It looks like, I mean, the way savings boom is ahead, and other options, I mean, these are all asset class churn. At some point of time, real estate will also come back. At that point of time, what happens, I don't know. And the interest in equity markets in India had always been cyclical. short burst of 3, 4, 5 years, and then 5, 6, 7, 10 years. You just, I mean, nobody wants to even talk about it. So, has it changed? I don't. It looks, the intensity and size of the flow I'm seeing. First time I'm seeing mutual fund is taken very seriously. Even government has taken very seriously. They have promoted this mutual fund sahi hai. You know, so that campaign is big. It is definitely helping. When I go around, the excitement, the acceptance of mutual fund. I mean, we as a speaker, that tells me that how much people are excited. You know, so clearly it is a change of times, and my sense is that if corporates don't disappoint, corporates don't disappoint. I mean, what they've done in last 10, 15 years, if they do kind of same or little better, there is no reason why that should not happen. I think they're going to have good time. Investors will make good amount of money, and hence flow here has to be pretty strong.
So from a retail audience point of view, for a retail investor, continue the SEB, keep buying the dips. Is that the mantra that you're going to suggest?
See, this timing the market is the biggest curse. I mean, you must avoid this, and CNBC and all, they encourage a lot of this market timing. You have so many guys trying to tell buy on this, buy on, sell on top, this, and nobody gets it. Everybody sells at the bottom and buys at the top. Okay, so that's what everybody has achieved, and that's why we have so many disappointed investors. So what, I mean, the guys who are not, who don't have courage and who don't have, who are just, who are the new starters. I mean, I met yesterday some guys, how do you start? I think you start with the SIP, you know. You start with SIP, say you want to put 10 lakhs, you put every month a lakh. In next 10, 12 months, you'll get an average of it, and after a year or so, you'll realize what you've done. You know, how it works. And then you can continue with another SIP, or then you can come with a lump sum. Because in swimming, you cannot be standing on the pool, and learn. You have to get into the water.
Siddharth, coming to you, I can see that in the 13 names, there is hardly any pharma representation. There is only one stock within the pharma name. Is that to do with more of the current environment, given that for the last few years pharma stocks have not done well? Or are you think it should be the other way around, that now that they've not done well for many years, this is the time to identify pharma names?
So I think there were a couple of pharma names, out of which we selected one also.
Yeah, that's what.
And
in that list.
Yeah, so I think what you're saying is right. I mean, some of them have got beaten down. But maybe, we had some criteria on you should be able to see 25% upside and, meet a lot of the other growth criteria. Maybe
criteria is not only about the idea. I mean, it is one of them. I mean, applicability of QGLP is very important. Idea is one of them. Then the modeling he has done and the way he has the pitching.
In that case, is there somewhere a miss that, many of those pharma names are not getting identified right now? Given that they're beaten down, valuations are attractive.
You are not understanding. See, the audience which is there, I mean, the people who are contesting, they are school kids. So, I mean, they're not looking like you, okay, but let's send 10 entries from bank, 10 entries from pharma, and 5 entries from... It's not like that. I mean, whatever is popular, I mean, whatever they know, they're just saying.
They've just looked at it. Wild guess, Siddharth, if I have to ask you, who in this list could be the top 3 according to you? I know it's premature to say.
No, we are very open and we are excited about all 13. And I spoke to Ramesh and Utpal Bhai. They are also the
part of the jury.
So I think Ramesh will enjoy talking to all the kids. He always loves to talk to the kids. So he's going through all of them. Physical copy is called for. So I think we'll have a very and it's all open. Now it is not about who's number one and all 12 or 13?
All 13 now.
All 13 are in the same bucket. Now now the new judges are there. They will have their own views, and I wish I could involve them in 55 itself, but now in this 13, they are going to have this fresh mind will be applied, and we'll decide. I mean, and a lot of it is how much passion they bring, how well they're prepared in making the pitch. It's not about idea itself. Because who knows which company is going to do well. Which company is going to do well, it's all in the realm of future. So you have to make your idea very, very powerfully being presented.
So before I let both of you all go, Raamdeo and Siddharth, what next for this contest? I know this is the first time that you've done this. You have very strong aspirations to take it a little larger. Maybe over a few years from now, what is that you have in mind to take the contest to a much larger level?
I think this answer we can give only after second. Because there will be a lot of I mean, I have tried to tell them to plan every single minute. I mean, how the pitch will go, how many minutes will take, how many questions, when the food comes, when we have tried to plan everything. And yet, you know, the first time is first time. So we will learn a lot from this contest.
No, I'm sure now that I'm also traveling with you guys, even I'm going to learn a lot. And I'm going to ask after the event as well as to what has been your key takeaways. So it will be nice to hear what this 13 universities has to say.
And most importantly, you ask the students, was it worthwhile?
Correct.
I mean, we are creating all this noise here. I mean, maybe it is completely disconnected. I mean, 5 kids, they talk for half an hour or two days, and they just send something, and we are unnecessarily making a mountain out of mole.
But you know, on the same point, like you know, as a student, I know that, you know, when I go back on think about the old times, at that time, you know, any bright student, you only had 2-3 names in their mind. I mean, whether it be McKinsey's consulting world or be this. Even if they were stock buffs, I knew there were so many stock buffs in my school as well. They just didn't have any platform to showcase their talent. So I think in the next 4-5 years, even if, you know, there's some stock buff who's like in the most obscure B school, you know, I think he'll look forward to this contest as a way to, you know, probably showcase himself, get noticed and so on. So hopefully.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Raamdeo ji, for talking to me. I will be coming to IIM Ahmedabad. I'll be talking to some, you know, winners as well, including you after the event. So let's see. It turns out to be a great event.
We'll have a great time.
So we look forward.
I'm looking forward to it.
On October 2nd, when I meet again Raamdeo ji and the winners to identify what they have finally identified as the top 3 winners from this contest.